Chapter 19. They talked the morning away in that coffee shop on 2nd Avenue. Fish corrected John's mispronunciation of his name, and they settled into a discussion. Before a deity was mentioned, though, they talked about themselves. John discovered that Fish wrote poetry to communicate some harsh truths to people who could care less about truth. Fish would scream into a microphone once a week with a band blasting away behind him. His justification for such action was, people don't sit and read poetry. It has to be thrown at them with enough force to break through their outer defenses. They may not pick it up right away, but they would have it in them. If they are intelligent, they will see that poetry is only an example from the poet's life that can be looked into to find the real meaning. And with the youth of today, that's a mighty big if, Fish said, concluding with a raised mug to his lips. Why do you try to show people the way? What if people don't want to see it? John asked. Most people don't, and most people won't. But I still have to say it. He leaned forward in the chair. Look, all people are equal, but that doesn't mean we can all do the same things. People seem to resign themselves into one of two groups these days. Those who rule and use their minds, and those who make the world run and rulable. The latter use their bodies. Something else is coming. What makes you say that? We're coming up on the 21st century. This time is fabled by religions and seers as the time that human race is either furthered or destroyed. Same thing when you think about it. Fish smiled as he put his cup down. It's like we have to destroy ourselves to move forward, and that works on the individual level too, except it doesn't have to be drastic. He lit up a cigarette. Without licking his fingers, he clamped the fire between his pointer and thumb and extinguished the flame. Anyway, he took a puff. This is the time when humans become aware of the reality of the soul. The finer points of our emotional existence will be defined like a science and realized as an actuality. Like our other two components, everybody will find that they can utilize this inner power. But, like the other two components, there will be some who can use it with expertise. Those people have been artists in the past, poets, musicians, an occasional guru, yogi, or priest. Now, there will be more of them than ever before. And what effect will this have on the world? A heavy one at first. These people aren't welcomed in society. No one needs them on the two surface levels, but their place is a ruling position above governments. Governments won't want a group of enlightened people keeping them in check, making them do what's right. It'll be an uphill battle, but one that will be worth it in the long run. So how do you fit into this? Me? I just do what I gotta do. I inform the world of truths that desperately need to be heard. I guess you could call me trailblazer for that enlightened group. Being that I've never talked so much to any one person, your place in the collective destiny must be pretty big. Oh, how so? Leaning back in his chair, Fish sipped his coffee. I don't know. But you've indulged this crazy man long enough with your attention. Tell me about yourself. I'm the older of my parents' two sons. I'm from Anchorage, Alaska. I'm at NYU to be an urban designer. You're gonna build cities? I'm gonna plan cities. But I feel the best way to give people comfortable surroundings is to understand them on some basic level. A psychoanalytical city planner. Hip. Fish engulfed his nicotine stick. I know, sounds crazy. So crazy it's brilliant. John was drinking his coffee. But what about you? What about me? What do you believe in? What's your take on life? What makes up this mass called John Coletta? John thought. I don't know. A lot of pride instilled in me by my parents, I guess. Fish leaned back. Your father's name is John, isn't it? In fact, he's the third. I'm the fourth John Francis Coletta in my family. Fish smiled and thought for a moment. My original name is 6 syllables in Japanese that would tie your tongue so tight you couldn't open it till Christmas. That's not me, though. It's only a name. So Fish better describes you? For right now. My only defining characteristic is that I have no regard for the rules placed around me. I just go about doing what I do. So I'm Fish for now, until I better define myself to myself. Well, that's not for me. I like my name. If I had your name, I'd like it too. The trick is for you to define the name, not for the name to define you. John sat back after that and fell into deep contemplation. The afternoon went on, the school year went on, and a change occurred in John. By the time school had finished, he had become a poet and freelance writer. Discovering what he wanted to do with his life, he left NYU after a goodbye to Fish and New York City and returned to Anchorage to marry his sweetheart, Jean Marie. The couple moved in together after the ceremony, and he went to work publishing articles and compiling poems for a book. She finished out trade school and got a degree in data entry. They settled down to live a happy life fueled by love. Sitting on the bench in Washington Square Park on December 31st, John thinks how he owes that decision to the insight from Fish. He has to find his friend and tell him about what has happened. John imagines the worst, however, and envisions Fish trying to be heard so bad that it drove him insane. He pictures his friend dying on the streets of Manhattan. He closes his eyes and chases the images away. He feels a hand on his shoulder. He doesn't turn around. Howdy, Fish. Fish strides around the other side of the bench, dressed in a long black coat. He has the same thin-rimmed glasses, but behind the glass, his eyes seem deeper. Howdy, John. It's not Fish anymore. I'm Felix. He extends a hand and John shakes it. Felix Sense.